What's up guys, Chris Schwartz-Edmisten here from Schwartz-Edmisten Web Design. Welcome to another episode of Freelance Friday, where I share inspiration and tips for freelancers every Friday. In today's video, I want to talk about a common freelance question. When is it the right time to quit your job and start freelancing full time? Let's get the real answer out of the way first. There will never be the right time. There will always be a good reason not to. You will set benchmarks that need to be met before you quit your job. You will meet them, and you will find a reason to set new ones. And that's okay. This is a huge step and it should not be taken lightly. But it is important to be conscious of when you are moving the goalposts. So with that in mind, let's talk about best practices for leaving your job and starting to freelance. The first thing to take note of is why you are leaving. Are you leaving because you want to start making a ton of money? Or are you leaving because you have a passion for something else? If you're leaving for the money, you probably won't last long enough to make it. Freelancing can be grueling in the beginning when you're building up your client base. You won't make very much money right off the bat, and if the passion isn't there, you won't have a reason to continue. For me, I hated what I was doing at my full-time job. I was working for a digital marketing agency running programmatic advertising campaigns, and I dreaded getting up for work in the morning. Like, it would take all of my willpower to drag myself out of bed and force myself to go into work. On top of that, it was a small agency, and we were all extremely overworked and stressed out all the time. I could never separate myself from my work because I was constantly thinking about whether I had set the campaign live that needed to be launched, or whether I'd set the proper bid settings so I wouldn't accidentally spend the whole client's budget overnight. My entire existence was just constant stress with no reward. And since I had a passion for web design, marketing, and digital art, for me the decision was easy. It wasn't about the money. I hated what I was doing and I wanted to do something I loved, even if it meant I didn't make very much for a while, which I didn't. Next, build a financial runway. Save up at least 6 months worth of expenses. Personally, I saved up a year, which was easier for me since I was only a year and a half out of college and I didn't have many expenses. I'm warning you, this benchmark will be the biggest moving target. I set out with the goal of saving 6 months worth of expenses, but once I didn't feel comfortable quitting and I kept pushing it back. Okay, after 8 months I'll quit. Okay, after 10 months. Finally, after a year I'd had enough and I made the plunge. As expected, since I didn't have many clients when I quit, I didn't make very much money my first year. In fact, I had to get a part-time teaching job, which ended up being the bulk of my income that year, which was only $24,000 in total. That brings me to my next point. Unless you are a recent college grad with no one depending on you and no expenses like I was, start getting consistent work and don't leave your full-time job until you're at least making enough to cover all of your expenses. That, plus the 6 months runway you have saved up, should float you until your income becomes a bit more predictable. For me, I quit my job in 2018, and it was not until March of 2020 that I could start predicting how much I would make month to month. It just takes time to build up your clients and to get your work out there when you first start. So you have to make sure that you're doing everything in your power beforehand to prepare yourself for that time. Finally, I think it is important to point out that freelancing was not the answer to all of my work issues like I thought it would be. I was stressed out all the time before. Guess what? I'm still stressed. I had trouble separating myself from work before. Guess what? I still do. The difference is now I love what I'm doing, and all of the stress and difficulties I am experiencing are mine, and all of the victories are mine as well. So for me, I would say the gamble has paid off. But everyone is different and weights what is important to them differently. So the decision will not be the same for you as it was for me. To recap, ask yourself, why am I leaving? Save up 6 months worth of expenses. Build up consistent work equal to your expenses. Understand that quitting your job will not solve all your problems, but it might solve some of them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leaving a like helps my video make it in front of other like-minded freelancers. Feel free to subscribe to make sure you receive future Squarespace tutorials and freelance tips, and hopefully I'll see you for the next Freelance Friday.